Hi there, my name's Hazel Eirwen and this is my channel Wild. So today I wanted to talk about 5 things that I think that you could quite easily swap in 2022 or whenever, starting from now, that would make a good positive impact on the world. They're more sustainable things to do in your life, and I also think that you would quite enjoy doing them. So we'll see. So number 1, we'll just kick straight into it. Number 1 is to buy things secondhand or refurbished. So the reason to buy things secondhand is that when you're purchasing that, you're not creating demand for more of that thing to be made. So whenever an item is made, it has an impact on the planet, which is in almost every case a negative impact. And that's a negative impact on the environment, on people working in the countries making these things, and on your wallet. So things like cars, I think, are quite an obvious one. Most people do purchase cars secondhand, but it's really important to continue to purchase cars secondhand, use up these cars in the secondhand market, and houses as well, supporting new developments which aren't really necessary. Well, they really aren't necessary because the developments being made are for houses which are much bigger than the people needing houses require. So second-hand houses seems obvious. There's not really a stigma around second-hand houses, but it's an important thing to think about. And then on a smaller scale, you've got things like electronics. So if you need a new Hoover, you might want to buy a refurbished Hoover, so you can still go to the same company. Or a lot of the time, places like Dyson or companies like Dyson and Vax will have things on their eBay store or on their website, and they will be a refurbished product. Or you could buy things from secondhand electronics stores. So my camera, my tablet that I have, my phone, these are all purchased secondhand. They are cheaper, and I just pay, on my phone for example, I just pay a very low amount each month just for my texts and phone calls and so on. And then other things like clothes. The fast fashion industry has such a negative impact on the world and on the workers, and buying clothes secondhand is something that you can do that is fun. So you can I tend to use Depop, particularly because I haven't been going shopping during the last couple of years. But of course you can go to charity shops and things, but Depop is really handy because you can obviously search for exactly what you want, and you're not creating that demand. You're not putting money into something that you don't want to support. I don't think that most people want to support dyes polluting waterways in lesser economically developed countries, and they don't want to, I don't want to support things like child slave labour. So buying clothes secondhand is really important. So those are just a few examples, but I think if you just think about it for everything that you want to buy new, have a look on the Facebook Marketplace, go to Depop for clothes, and just really think about what's important and the impact. So number 2, that was quite a big one, number 1, but number 2 is to use a reusable bottle and the refill app. So in combination, the refill app and a refillable bottle are lifesavers. So I drink a lot of water, and having this bottle, obviously, it stops you from buying a plastic bottle. So you're not polluting the planet. It also stops you from wasting money because you can go to these places that are available on the refill app and refill your bottle for free. So the bottle, I have a Clean Canteen. I bought this, it was like a barely used bottle, so I got that for a real bargain. But you don't need to buy anything expensive. You don't need to go out and buy some fancy bottle or anything. You probably have a bottle in your house that you could use and refill. So that's a really easy thing to do. And the refill app, basically you have it on your phone and it'll see where you are, or you can type in where you're looking for, and it'll tell you everywhere that you can go and get a free refill of water. So in the UK, that is pretty much every Pret-a-Manger, Costa Coffee, Wetherspoons, all those big chains do it, and then loads of small businesses. So it's a really good way to support small businesses as well, because you can go and get your water refill and buy something from them. So that's a really easy one to do, and it saves you money, and it's just brilliant. So highly recommend you try doing that from now on. So the third thing on my list is for anyone who has a period. It is to use a menstrual cup. So I'll show you the box because my menstrual cup itself is about 6 years old. I only have one, and yeah, here's the box. So I have found it absolutely life-changing. It seems like a big investment at first because you're paying like £15-20, however much, for a menstrual item, and normally you just pay a couple of quid for a box of tampons or whatever it is. But with the menstrual cup, I have paid that once. That's the amount that I have paid in 6 years for so far, and it continues to work and continues to be used. So it saves you money. It's also just amazing that I only need to change it. I change it before bed and I change it when I get up in the morning, and that's it. I do not need to think about it the rest of the day. Even when I'm on a particularly heavy flow, don't need to think about it. It's absolutely fantastic. Of course, that's different for different people. Everybody's body is different. And I'll link a website down below that you can put in some information about yourself, and they actually tell you what they recommend as the best cup on the market for you. But yeah, you're saving money, obviously, and you're saving all of these plastic tampons, pads, all of that stuff from going to landfill. So the fourth thing on my list is around reading. I like to read, I like to look at books, and my suggestion is that you use your local library. So this is something that I don't know why I stopped doing when I was kind of a teenager. I used to go to the library all the time as a kid and a young adult. And I think I moved house, I didn't get a new library card, and I just kind of stopped thinking about it. And then one day I thought, I can't get hold of this book. It's in my local library. Why am I not going to the library? So the great thing about the library is that you are not producing new books. So books have a carbon footprint like everything else, and producing a book creates a carbon footprint. And buying secondhand was obviously my first tip, but buying secondhand, if you're buying a secondhand book, no proceeds of that go to the author. So by going to the library, you're kind of meeting those two things in the middle. You're borrowing a book, and every time you borrow that book, a little bit of money goes to the author. So that's really important, and it's really important to support our local libraries, their local community spaces. They're really important for many communities, and unfortunately cuts in funding have reduced the opening hours and the number of libraries. So make use of your library. You can pretty much anything that you're looking for, if it's not in that local library, if it's in your county, you can order it in, which I do a lot of the time. And it saves space on your shelf. It saves you owning all of these books that you don't necessarily want to read more than once. So I highly recommend this year you go and get a library card. And the fifth thing on my list is something which is very strange to bring someone joy, but it brings me so much joy, and that is composting. So I eat lots of veggies, lots of fruit and veggies, and I also buy products which now say that the packaging and things are compostable. So I'm lucky enough to have a garden with a compost bin, so I have a tub in the kitchen, collect all the composty bits, and then empty that every day, every few days, however often it needs emptying. So things like buying plastic-free tea bags, that's brilliant for going in the compost. Any kind of peelings, apple cores, whatever it is, it can go in the compost. So if you don't have a big garden, you can get quite small compost bins. They're like tumbling ones that you can use. If you live in a flat or something, then perhaps you have a friend with a compost bin, or your workplace has a compost bin, and you can collect your compost and take it there. So I would highly recommend composting if you can. And of course, if you have your own garden, then you have free compost. You don't need to buy compost in plastic bags if you're producing enough compost, and you don't need to worry about peat compost, peat-free compost. You have your own compost, and it's fantastic. So it is really rewarding. It sounds weird because I'm promoting, making moldy things. It is absolutely brilliant. And this year I'm hoping to create a dog poo compost bin. So that is my goal, my composting goal for 2022. So yeah, that was quite a varied selection, but I think these are 5 things that you could take on this year and have a go at doing yourself. So let me know in the comments what you think, if there are any things that you're already doing or that you're going to try and do. That would be really great to know. And thank you so much for watching, and I will see you again soon. Bye.